Welcome back to episode 55 of Dice to Pixels. Before we continue, though, we're going to need you to link your Dice to Pixels ID to YouTube so that you continue watching this. I'm just fucking with you. No, you don't.
Yeah. Well, you can tell us about the Capcom bullshit.
Yeah, so Exoprimal was recently released. It was free on Game Pass. I strongly recommend that if you have Xbox and you have Game Pass, try it there. Don't pay money for this game. It sucks.
That's your review?
I loaded her up. I figured, all right, let's give this a go, right? And the very first thing I get run into is I have to link my Capcom ID with my Xbox Live account. Great. Another ID for another gaming publisher that I have to link to my console.
Yeah, there was once upon a time, Google and Facebook and everybody did like the whole, we're going to do single sign-on. So you have a single sign-on.
Mm-hmm.
And then everybody's like, well, we can do our own single sign-on. It's like, did you miss the single part of that?
That was the point of Xbox Live. When they first launched it, it was like,
100%.
Xbox Live is your online, like this is where all your online shit happens.
Yep.
And now
and to a larger extent, like Microsoft, like you can sign into all kinds of things with your Microsoft account. So like you don't need a million different things. Sony, I don't think did a good job. Oh, it's my laptop that's making that noise. Sorry, folks. Sony, I don't think it did nearly as good a job of the like sign-in process as Microsoft did, like the single sign-on aspect.
Yeah.
But even so, if I've got a fucking account on my console, all you need is an identifier. You've got one, piss off.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, so that annoyed me right off the hop. And then in doing that Bullstein was really fun.
Well, I'm not going to play the game as a result.
Yeah.
I refuse. I don't play any other Capcom games, and I am not signing up an account to play that specific game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I actually, I would love to see Microsoft make it a requirement for Game Pass Edition, like to adding the game to Game Pass. I would like them to make it a requirement that it doesn't have that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
It should just be like there are other requirements that it has to meet in order to be on Game Pass. That should be one of them. Is just no, you do not get your own sign in.
Yeah.
Period. Fuck off.
And like, I kind of get it in a way, like if they're running their own servers and all that crap, sure, whatever. But it's still fucking annoying that everybody has their own. I had to do a Square Enix one for, I can't remember what. But they're like, oh, you must link your
Final Fantasy 16.
No,
sure.
it was I think it was Outriders.
Okay.
I had to, online games in general, right?
Yeah.
Bethesda, I had to do it with Bethesda for Fallout 76.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I don't remember doing that, but I didn't
Yeah.
play 76. Last time I played was 4.
That came out before it, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the amount of time I spent in that was probably the equivalent of farting. So,
Yeah, my thing is like, give me the option if I have a Capcom ID and want to link it.
Mhm.
Cool. Otherwise, create me a dummy account on Capcom using a proxy email for Microsoft, and get out of my fucking way. Let me
Yep.
play your game.
Yep.
I don't need to give you, my blood type to play your fucking game. That's ridiculous.
I mean, mobile games are able to give you everything you want without having to sign up for an account. It says you can, if you want, to be able to link it between different like devices, but it's not necessary to play the game. So why is it so different with a console necessarily?
yeah.
It shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be.
I mean,
Exactly.
The
That's my
answer
point.
is,
Yeah.
these fucking publishers think they can get away with it. And as long as people keep doing it, they can.
Yep.
Yeah.
People need to push back on that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the ship has probably sailed for that. The time to push back on that was, 15 years ago, when the first publishers started doing it.
Mhm.
But same thing with DRM. It started a long time ago, and some people were like, no, this is absolutely not acceptable. A little bit different with DRM because there was at least like the goal was noble. Like the idea of like not having people pirate your game and everything was like fair because you did the work, you should get paid for it. But DRM, people were like, this is going to evolve. It's going to get sketchy. And now we've got things that were like run fucking malware on your PC, essentially.
Mhm.
Yep.
But unfortunately, that's not a fight anyone's going to win now. It's ship sailed. So, and I think the same is true for sign-ons. But I, for one, won't even be trying Exoprimal, even though I was mildly interested in trying it.
Yeah, and so when I finally got into the game, I was my first thought was, "Holy crap! This reminds me of Anthem." Just the cutscenes and like your opening cutscene is you're basically creating your character, and then when you actually get into the game, it's I wasn't all that impressed with it.
Ah, that cat won't shut up.
Yeah.
So
It was very generic. You have like a bunch of different suits. This was the one thing that was cool is you could basically switch your suit while you're playing, which I thought was pretty neat. But this is one of those games where if you're playing alone, you are not going to have a good time. It is a team-based, like it legitimately is a team-based shooter. You need to be playing with other people. I was talking to a friend at work about it, and he liked it, whereas I didn't. And the only reason why he did is because he was playing with all of his buddies.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it just didn't click with me, which is a shame. I was hoping for a lot more, but
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I liked Anthem. It was a good game. It was just it was about 1/10 of the game that it should have been.
Yep.
I think I would like Exoprimal. I honestly think I would enjoy it. But there's no chance I'm setting up another fucking ID to play it.
Yeah.
I absolutely won't do it. Now, will I spend the time to write an AI to create random accounts for me? Maybe.
Maybe. Well, let me ask you then.
Violate some terms of service up in here.
Do you already have your ID ready for when you can finally get Blizzard games on Steam?
Well, I do have a Battle.net account, and don't get me wrong, I didn't want to, but in fairness, Battle.net, I didn't find too much of a problem because I think I created it when World of Warcraft came out.
Yeah.
And hey, if you're making a proper MMO, yeah. I'm going to create an account. Obviously, you have to.
Yep.
So that was okay. I didn't mind that. So yes, technically I already have that account. But yeah, first one is
Overwatch 2.
Overwatch 2.
So, because we kind of didn't say it directly, Blizzard game. Just making hand signals. Blizzard games are apparently coming to Steam now. And it was just announced on the 19th, and on August 10th, yes, Overwatch 2 is coming to Steam.
Yeah, weirdly not all at once, which is honestly kind of strange to me because I would have assumed that they were just linking the Battle.net servers and Steam authentication.
I bet you, probably more than anything, they're testing the waters to see what the response will be like. So they're using Overwatch 2 for probably a couple of reasons. One thing I read was that the overall users for Overwatch 2 have been, in the toilet for the last while.
I can't imagine why.
Yeah, right?
But then there's also a new event that's happening around that same time called Invasion, and it's including some PvE content as well, finally. And so...
They are definitely trying to drum up additional numbers for Overwatch.
And to be fair, I didn't mind what I played of Overwatch 2, but I never played the first one. And a lot of people have said the first one was like better, even though I won't notice the difference. I'm not an Overwatch expert, okay? So don't.
Yeah. I was gonna say but how long has it been out for? But then I did a quick
less than
search.
a year, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's 2022. So because like these games, you typically have a fall off. It's not surprising, but a year is actually.
I wonder if there's still a large or if they're even supporting the first game at all.
No.
I don't think they are. I think Overwatch 2 basically took over Overwatch 1. Correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm not an expert.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's right. I remember something about that. Now, mind you, it might have been that they were going to stop supporting it. It may not have happened yet, but my understanding is they're not planning to anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So they haven't, it's basically like what they did with, probably not exactly the same, but when they blew up Fortnite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
But
now I did just see though that Overwatch original only came out on Nintendo Switch in 2019. So maybe it's later than I thought. Anyways, doesn't matter.
Yep.
Overwatch 2, people don't care about, or at least less people care about. Apparently, Google reviews only has it at 50% for users.
For PvP shooter, I didn't hate it. I'm not a big PvP player, and I played this. When I played it, I enjoyed it. It was fun. I wasn't getting like mad about being killed or that kind of shit. Like it was fun.
Yeah,
you just get back up and get back into it, and
From a visual standpoint, I really like the look of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think for what it is, it's fine. I just also think that this genre of game is so easy to replicate that it's going to be very hard to establish and maintain a foothold. Like, how many PvP shooters are there right now?
5 bajillion.
Right, and like maintaining your user base. Come on now, come on.
Yeah.
So it doesn't surprise me. I don't think they'll be able to pull it back. I don't think adding PvE will affect it. I think that'll just actually piss off their existing player base.
I mean, I would try it for the PvE part of it because I know I'm not good at PvP and I get too stressed out. But I still would like to experience that game in some way. But
sure.
Yeah.
Sorry. Let me clarify. I think that some people will check it out. I just don't think they'll have any staying power.
Oh no, exactly. I wouldn't be sticking around for any PvP content unless I wildly became really good for some reason.
I think it'll be when we start seeing so, okay, here we go. What do you think the next game Blizzard will launch on Steam? I'm curious. Because I kind of think it's not going to be what we think it will be.
It'll be Diablo 3.
Yeah, that was my first thought too.
I was actually thinking Diablo 2 Resurrected.
Yeah, I thought about that, but I actually don't think they'll do 2 Resurrected because I think that there are still some people who are... So the thing is, my thinking on this is they'll only do games that they think have hit saturation. So, go ahead.
Warcraft 3 and StarCraft.
Oh, they've already said.
No, that's what I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's maybe. Those are really low users, though.
And Warcraft 3 just came out with that remaster, which pissed a lot of people off. That like took over the actual Warcraft 3.
Yeah, I mean, based on my thinking, that does make sense. Those two do make sense. I feel like those are almost so end of life that they may not be even worth it. But yeah, basically, I think they'll be looking for games that don't really matter. Like they're not getting new sales through. They're not getting enough new sales
like
through
those
Blizzard.
two.
Like those two, in fairness.
Yes.
But I think going with something like Diablo 3, I assume they're still selling some Diablo 3 copies.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if they're selling any World of Warcraft or Warcraft 3 copies still. But hey, what do I know? Obviously, they do know, and I suspect that's how they're going to do it.
Yeah, because I don't think it would be WoW or Diablo.
It won't be WoW
or Diablo 4 because of the in-game stuff, like the in-game purchase shit. I think that's going to be the.
Well, further to that, I don't think they'll do WoW or Diablo 4 possibly at all because you need a BattleNet count, period, for those games. Because, of course, they made Diablo 4 an MMO that isn't an MMO.
But you need BattleNet to play Overwatch too, though.
Well, kind of. I mean, you need to get logged into the server to play it. I mean, they could do the same thing with World of Warcraft and Diablo 4. And they may well at some point do that. But I suspect they'll be right down at the end of the list. Because you have to assume that Steam's getting a cut, right? Or else they wouldn't be doing it. So anything that they're still selling copies of en masse, I assume they're not going to migrate reasonably. So okay,
it makes you. Was your first reaction when you heard about this like it's about fucking time?
A little bit, yeah.
Actually, my first reaction was I wonder what backroom dealing occurred there. Because I can't help but notice that the FTC backed down at the same time that they announced this.
Oh, some backdoor support in there.
Just somebody somewhere did this to appease somebody, and that's why they happened like literally at the same time, pretty much.
I know. There was like no build up towards this either.
None.
It was just announced yesterday.
It was like just like hey, we're doing this, and oh, by the way, the FTC is backing down.
Yeah.
It smells a bit to me. Not to say that they're adding back doors or anything. It's just like, I think there was a backroom deal where somebody was like, if we do this, will you piss off? Yeah, okay, let's shake hands. Let's do this.
Mhm.
So that was my first thought.
Oh, okay.
Second thought was, holy shit, it's about time.
Yeah.
I can't believe it took them this long.
I know.
I was starting to think they'd never do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which maybe they wouldn't have if it weren't for the merger stuff.
Yeah. That'll be the next one, is like getting all the fucking Blizzard shit on Game Pass.
Well, they'll just link it with Microsoft.
Yeah.
Which should be easy, one would assume.
Mhm.
And maybe that's part of it, is they're like, well, we'll set it up so we can link it with Steam now, so that when we do the merger, we can just flip the switch and add Microsoft too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably
build
like
out-
a dry run type
Yeah,
thing.
build out the server infrastructure to do the linking, and then Microsoft too.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it is about fucking time they did that.
Hell yeah. Jesus.
So Roblox, shall we?
Roblox.
Yeah, Roblox.
Oh, that, yeah.
Sent a sorry email after
Oh.
4,000 developers' details were leaked. And so when I read an article like that, a headline like that, I'm always like, okay, but what details? Because very often it's like an email. And I'm like, don't get me wrong, that sucks. But an email is whatever.
Did you know that Steve cuts the crust off his PB&J?
Yeah.
In this case, we're talking phone numbers, emails, physical addresses, and t-shirt sizes, which is like,
I love that. I love that detail.
but we're talking legal name, physical address, phone number. That is dangerous.
Very.
Mhm.
It's not financial
very,
details, but as you said, Sarah, it's probably enough to get there.
Yeah.
With some social engineering.
Yeah.
So, yeah, bad for Roblox developers. Not good at all.
No.
Yeah, secure your fucking systems, people. By the way, have you signed up for your Dice to Pixels email account? We definitely won't leak it to anyone.
But you do
We
need
will sell it to everyone.
you do need your ID to keep watching this YouTube video.
That's right. Yeah. Super chat, sign up our Patreon, log into our free newsletter, buy
us a
daily
coffee.
Yeah, buy it. Yeah.
Yeah, right on.
No, yeah, that sucks for those devs, because I assume a lot of them, especially the nature of Roblox, they probably went to a fair bit of effort to keep that kind of stuff under wraps. And
Mhm. Yeah.
but yeah, what else did we have on the list? We had some other stuff that we were going to talk about.
The PS5 update?
yeah.
Yeah, well, and the Xbox update, and the other Xbox update.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So the PS5 system update was released earlier this week. That really didn't do anything.
Well,
It just made your
that's not true.
Well, it improved stability.
So my take on this was everybody bitches when Cyberpunk and other games release ahead of schedule, like Gollum, and and they're like, oh, it's buggy, fuck you, you're terrible, you're awful people, you shit software and studio deserves to burn to the ground. Then Sony comes along and they're like, hey, we fixed some bugs, guys. We just made things better. We didn't do any crazy UI. We just took some bugs and we fixed them. And everybody's like, fuck you, that's not enough. What are you doing? Like, every single person complaining about this needs to be just beaten upside the head.
And I mean, it's not like it's the only, like, the past few updates have been just minor, like, stability issues.
Well, they usually
Bug
include
fixes.
some tiny feature, but like
the last big one was the Discord integration.
yeah, which people liked.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
But like, since when did bug fix updates become a bad thing? Like, what the fuck?
I want my console to work. Thank you very much.
I would love my console to work better.
What was that one tweet that you read that was...
Yeah, okay. So in fairness, there was one tweet that I read that I thoroughly enjoyed, which was, after this update, my PS5 definitely will not fall over, which I was like, all right, fair enough. But yeah, people are bitching about this.
Yeah.
They're unbelievable.
I think
Yeah.
probably what their issue is the fact that it's announced. Like, it should be, like, who cares if it's thing? Why do you have to announce it? Well, it's probably part of the end user agreement, I assume.
Well, it's part of the end user agreement, and in most places, it's specifically legally required.
Yeah.
You're changing the software. You have to announce it.
Yeah.
Well, you have to inform the user, which is tantamount to announcing it. Sony didn't plaster it on every fucking gaming news site on the planet. They chose to do that themselves.
Yeah.
I think part of it is people being dumb assholes.
Yes.
And then part of it is because Microsoft's UI update actually did come out.
Yes. Finally. Yeah.
Which, yeah, it's a bad timing for Sony to release an update that just fixes bugs. But like, who cares? It fixes bugs. That's a good thing.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure they just redid their UI as well for the PS5.
They've done a whole bunch of updates. Yeah. Like anyone, if you're complaining about this, you're an asshole, period. Unless it actually broke something, in which case, fair enough. But given that the whole point was to unbreak stuff, one assumes.
Yes.
But Microsoft's new update. I haven't installed it yet, but have you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, it installed itself, but
okay. I haven't tried it yet. I should say.
I fired it up. I like it now. They have the store tab right at the top.
That's good.
And the Game Pass tab right at the top, next to it.
That's what you need.
Perfect.
That's it.
Yeah,
we're good.
I like it. Everything's a bit smaller, and they actually show like more of like your background, whatever it may be.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, you can create groups, I guess, and display them underneath the main tiles.
That's nice. Yeah.
It looks good. I like it. We talked about this. Probably near the start of the year.
A long time ago, they were betaing it. Yeah, they put it through the ringer, I guess. Which is, I mean, thank you for not releasing buggy software.
Yeah, because we thought it was about to drop. Like when we talked about it in that one episode. I can't remember the episode number, but
it was like 40 or something. It was a while back.
Yeah. So. And then they also announced Xbox Live the name is going bye-bye.
Yeah, well, that's the other update that I was interested in. So I did a little bit of math on this. Not a huge amount, so my numbers are probably all over the shop.
Show me your work.
Inside joke. You don't need it doesn't matter.
F.
So what I tried to do was come up with some sort of dollar value for the free stuff that you get, because I was curious. Like, they're taking away the gold
games with
gold,
yeah,
and they're replacing it with a very limited version of the Game Pass library,
like 25 games, I think.
Yeah,
well, 25 to start with, and then they said that they were going to expand it. I read different things, and I was a bad journalist and didn't go to the source. I just read what other people had written. Some people said expand, some people said change. I suspect it's a bit of both. But they are talking about refreshing the list every like two to three times a year.
Yeah, that's fair.
Which, if they refresh even like half of the list, you're talking about 12 games per sort of, we'll call it 4 or 5 months, probably 6 months. We'll call it to be fair. That's in line with the games with gold, especially since my understanding is with games with gold, you had to remain with the 360 games. Well, so my understanding is with the 360 games, you got them forever.
Yes.
But with the Xbox One titles, you had to remain subscribed to gold.
Like I'm not sure about that, but that would make sense.
This
PS Plus is the same.
This is what I was reading, was that the 360, and that's still true. The 360, you get those even if you don't convert to Game Pass. But the Xbox One, you'll lose if you don't convert to Game Pass. But my understanding is that's not really different. That's just sort of the continuation.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it sounds like we're probably talking in the 20 to 25 games a year sort of area, which is, that sounds pretty comparable.
It's still a good deal. It's still a good value. And to be perfectly honest, a lot of the games with gold games that they've been releasing the past few months have been just shit.
Well, so that's where I try to do a little bit of math, and frankly, it's hard to do because it's impossible to know what they're going to refresh with. But I did try and get some idea of like, okay, what were the games with gold actually worth versus what are the Game Pass titles? And it's going to skew heavily if, for instance, if Starfield is available for Game Pass Core, which, who knows?
Yeah, could go either direction.
That sort of shit would heavily skew the results. Like if they do some of these day one releases to Game Pass Core, which I think they might, just to drum up like get people like, hey, but you know, you'll get more of these if you go to unlimited.
Mhm.
Or even if it's like a game preview, like we see some of
Sure.
sometimes you'll jump on Game Pass and you'll see a title on there is like a game preview,
Yeah.
which is more or less a glorified demo.
It is just a demo, yeah.
You know, something like that for the core users. And honestly, Game Pass really made the games with gold like obsolete, in my opinion, because the games that you're getting with Game Pass for the price that you were paying for it, the value was incredible.
Yeah, well, so I'm actually curious, and unfortunately, I've only talked to one person that was even impacted by this. So I think the number of people that are going to be angry about this are pretty low. But I was trying to figure out if there are legitimately a decent number of people who care. Like the games with gold, the idea was you get the game for free, and with 360 you just get it for free. With one, my understanding was you get it until you stop, same as PS Plus. For me, and for most of the people that I know, it's like, cool, if I play a game for a month or 2 months or however long it's going to be, like they're usually available for at least 6 on those services.
Yeah.
If I'm going to play a game, I'm going to play it within that time frame. And of the like 1 in 20 games that I really like, I'll buy it.
Yeah.
And yes, it's an extra cost on top, but A, it's supporting the developer directly, and B, by the time it's leaving Game Pass or PS Plus, it's cheap enough, like it's discounted to
Yeah,
at
you
least
get like a 20%
half off
discount
usually.
Yeah.
Like from the time that it goes on Game Pass to the time it comes off, you're probably saving 50%. So to me, it's like this is a non-issue, but I assume there are people out there that really care. They're like, no, if like I want to buy a game and just have it forever. That's like, I never want to like rent a game. I don't think there's a lot of them. If you are one, I'd love to hear from you in the comments, because I'm curious what what game library changes that has. Like how somebody who cares about that, how their game library looks compared to mine, which is a fucking eclectic nightmare, because it's just random games from Game Pass and then things that I occasionally like, and 67-cent games from Steam.
Yeah.
But I do know there's got to be people that are like, no, if I get a game, I better get it forever.
Oh, we talked about it before. I had mentioned that I have no problems paying money to a developer for like a good game.
Yeah.
I have no problems with that. I look at some of the High on Life came out on Game Pass.
Yeah.
Great game. I had a fucking blast with that one. And hell yeah, bought it. Hi-Fi Rush was another one that came out, like just debuted on Game Pass. Fun game.
Yeah. I'll go so far as to say that I don't mind paying, not that I go out of my way to do this, but I don't mind paying for a game as long as the developers put their best effort in.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if I buy a game and I don't like it, like Diablo 4, I bought 2 copies of it. In retrospect, I've put a bunch of time in that game and I'm just not really feeling it. I don't feel bad about spending that money, because, like, there's no question that people put time and effort into that game. It's not a buggy game. It works. It is as promised. It's just, it's too slow. It's not really my cup of tea. I'm fine with that as long as they do it. Now, if I buy a game and it's just not fit for purpose, that's where I get pissed off. That's where I'm like, fuck you. You sold me snake oil. This is not what I paid for. Cyberpunk 2077 at launch time. Yep. That's where I'm like, yeah, no, you got hosed. You should be angry about that. As long as the game is good, like good for somebody, I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like, I made a mistake. I made a bad purchase. That's fine. That's on me. But certainly for games that I do like, I will happily buy them multiple times.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, if Factorio was available on anything other than Steam, like for console, if it was available for Xbox, I might buy it, except that it's available on the Steam Deck, so who cares?
Well, I was actually super excited that Sea of Stars, which is probably my most anticipated game of 2023, is going to be on Game Pass day one. I still bought it. Like, I pre-ordered it. I paid money to Sabotage Studios. They do great freaking work.
Yeah, I'm excited to try it.
So,
and I might buy it if it's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's one that I would probably buy regardless, because we'll probably play it a bunch. I'll at the very least I'll probably buy it when it's leaving Game Pass.
Yeah.
I might even buy it before then just to.
It's I think it's discounted now on Xbox.
Oh, probably.
I think there is a discount on it right now.
But I want to log some hours before I go.
Yeah. Play the demo. Download the demo on Steam Deck and play it.
I will.
It's good. I'm digging it. I'm looking forward to it. It has that retro appeal that just tickles me fancy.
Yeah.
And actually, just to shift gears, I was away last weekend. Me and my two brothers, we had our brothers weekends, guy weekend. Hell yeah. So the one day it was like raining and shitty up north.
Oh god.
So we decided to bust out the NES. My brother had one of those 150 or 300 games in one. So we threw that in there and it had everything on it. Kids today, you suck at playing old school Nintendo games. I'm sorry if this offends some of you.
You can just leave it at you suck.
You suck. Like watching my nephews play Super Mario Brothers or Mega Man or my one nephew was talking some mad shit about how he was going to kick our asses at Blades of Steel, and my brother kicked both of my nephew's ass by a combined score of like 14-3, and then I did the same with like 16-2.
Well, you were saying like in Super Mario Brothers, they can't even handle like, the dexterity of like running and jumping.
Yeah, like holding the B button to run, and then like just being able to like boing boing boing.
Yeah,
it was painful watching it so much. So it got to a point where my brother just like said, you know, like give me that controller, and then he just started rocking it.
Well, is the distance between buttons bigger now too?
No, I don't think so.
We'll be right back.
All right, we're back now. We have a Nintendo controller and an Xbox controller, because I was wondering if the B and A buttons were any closer or further apart. I mean,
they're bigger at least.
Bigger.
They might be closer.
I think. No, I think they're closer on this in terms of like the distance of the plastic in between them.
Oh, the BNA specifically. I was thinking the BNX.
Either or.
They're close enough that it doesn't matter.
Yeah, like I'm just thinking in terms of how you would hold this.
Yeah.
And then you just roll your thumb over. Now, in terms of like horizontally, yes.
All right.
Those are.
Those of us who are pros always played like. No, I'm kidding. Although I did see I did know somebody that played like that.
Really?
Yeah. It was, well, if you think about it, this isn't actually much different than like the Wii.
No.
The Wiimote.
No, you're not wrong.
No.
It's just the processing is, because I'm just so used to like.
I mean,
right.
I agree. It's a little weird, and I did try playing it that way, and it's not that hard to pick it up. But I mean, they just started playing it that way, and then that was just how they always played. So,
cool. But yeah, nevertheless, it was hilarious watching them play Super Mario Brothers.
Hilarious and sad.
That too, because I'm like my nephews they're avid. They're always on their PlayStation. They're always on their Xbox. They're always playing games. And I still remember the first time I watched them both play Fortnite. I thought I was going to have a seizure.
Oh my god, I got motion sickness
because they just sat there and they kept spinning the camera, and so like it would look like all you're seeing is just this the entire time, right?
I so do that.
And watching them play Mario, like I remember there were several times where my brother Adam would get up onto the top of the block and then jump to the flag and get the 5,000 points every time. And my nephew's like, well, how are you doing that? How are you doing that? And we kept saying, like, run. Yeah. You have to run and jump.
Yeah. And it's interesting because like we talk about, occasionally we do talk about, especially me, rant about like old games being better. Like new games being too easy.
Mm-hmm.
And you see that. And I've seen this too. I've seen this exact same thing with people who, both young and old, who have only played recent games, and then they go back and they try something that's actually legitimately difficult, and they just break down. They're just like, oh, this is like, it's too much. It's too much coordination. And it's like, that's sad. And it's sad for two reasons. One, because like, that's what made games fun, is being difficult, being completely surmountable, but difficult. And two, the whole thing with gaming being like sort of like cool and okay for you and everything else was that like they build dexterity, and in some cases they're educational. Well, if they aren't building fucking dexterity, then Fortnite's not educational.
No.
So what are we left with? Like, come on.
Like,
What are we doing?
it's like they're having such a hard time with 2 buttons and a D-pad, whereas they you usually have like what, 8, 16 buttons on the freaking controller.
Well, but they also have an aimbot to help them.
And an aimbot to help them. Yeah.
Yeah.
This was actually the funniest part of the whole thing. So, my brother and my one nephew decided they wanted to play Contra, the original good old Contra, right?
You have to aim at them?
So my nephews, they're getting to this one part, and my brother says like, "Oh, shoot that ball. It's going to give you a weapon." How do I shoot up? And my brother just started like laughing, and he looked over at me and my other brother, and we're just like shaking our heads. And my other brother goes, "You press up. You hold up and you hit your fire button."
Yeah.
I'm like, holy shit! Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, and like, don't get me wrong. Like, we're not trying to shit on children. Although,
No,
in fairness, I mean, I'm all for that. But
like, I love my nephews to death. They know it. I love them to death. But
I've seen adults behave the exact same
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Like people who have only played, new PS4, PS5, whatever games, same exact behavior. They're like, you drop them into something like Super Mario, and they just like the idea that you would have to hit like 3 buttons at the same time to do something is like, no, come on, that can't be what's going on. Which is a little weird to me because things like Super Smash Brothers are very popular,
Yeah.
and like, you gotta mash buttons for that. I know because I played it and it's terrible and I hate it. No offense to people who like it. So it's interesting, but like Mario is the worst offender for this. The new Mario games require no coordination to play.
They're a brainless game, more or less.
Totally brainless. There's no coordination, no nothing required. You could teach a dog to play them.
Yeah.
Notice I didn't say monkey because they require no coordination.
arf, arf.
And yeah, it's sad to see that being lost because that was the one thing that games had. They were always like, well, they're in our generations.
Mm-hmm.
Well, our generation. I mean, there isn't really 2 that this applies to.
Well, I'm from like 4, so.
You can see the difference between gamers, people who gamed all their life, and people who didn't. Like the dexterity difference between those 2 groups of people is like super noticeable.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's going to be the case with like the new generation.
No. Like you throw me in one of those old games. I know I'm not good at them, but I do recognize, like, because I did play them at that time. I know that I have to do weird button combinations to do things. I'm just not good at them.
Sure.
Well, you've been watching me just rip through the Mega Man games.
Yeah, so my impression of those are like each level takes 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Not quite. But
Yeah, right.
Because my brother Kirk and I, we sat down and we pretty much blitzed through Mega Man 2 in less than an hour.
Yeah.
And it's just like muscle memory. We played Mega Man 3 and it got to a point where it's like, fuck, what gun works on this? Oh,
Yeah.
I think it's this. Oh, that sucks. That's not it. Hey, fuck you.
Yeah, no, it's it's interesting because like there are instances like this where you see, and like I said, I've seen it in young and old and everything else. You see a very, very obvious divide between people who have been brought up on new games versus old games.
Mm-hmm.
And just like that breakdown where it's like, I can't handle this. I have to press that many buttons? I can't handle it. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Don't ever play like Quake.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like-
God. That's so fast.
Yeah,
So fast.
Like that's what I grew up on, and oh, I'm knocking things over. And so like it's like, yeah, you've got to press like 4 buttons at the same time, and you've got to like jump and turn around in midair and shoot the guy, and no, there's no aim bots. And
Mhm.
I don't even remember who it was off the top of my head, but I sat somebody who had played Fortnite but never played a real like PvP game. I sat them down with Unreal Tournament without any aim bots or anything else, and they couldn't beat the easiest bot.
Mhm.
Wow.
I'm like, those bots like barely move. What are you doing?
Yeah.
It'd be interesting then to take some of these like pro PvP and first person shooter players and stick them with older games just to see how they adapt to them.
I would expect that pros would do just fine because they actually train their reflexes.
And yeah, they've probably grown up with those as well.
Also, yes.
Yeah.
Like I've watched the sort of like mouse training and stuff that
Mhm.
people do to like get really good at these, and it's like, okay, I think your reflexes and your dexterity are gonna be just fine, but like,
Well, now I'm curious what this traiing involves.
oh, we'll pull it up for you. Maybe we'll record it and include it at the end of a podcast at some point because I bet it'd be funny.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be terrible.
What one of the training regimens that
I want to
I've
dress
seen,
up as a drill sergeant.
one of the ones that I've seen very commonly is it's just you have your screen
Mhm.
and you're just working with your mouse in this particular case, but it's just boxes of various sizes and you have to get your mouse into position and click before it goes away. But at the higher levels, we're talking about, very small circles on the screen and like not even half a second to get in there. And you'll watch the pros doing it and it's like, and it's incredible. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And then there are more complex versions where you have to like hit buttons at the same time and you have to like perform like it would be simulating something like a jump shot.
Mhm.
And I'm sure there's a bunch of other ones that I don't know about, but the one with the mouse would be amusing to watch. Any of us, like I would suck at it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be good enough to do it because I've never done that. But yeah, it's crazy to sit people down with like real games, like actually difficult games, like Unreal, Super Mario Brothers, stuff like that. They require honest to God thought and like quick thinking and quick action.
Yeah. Yep.
And just watching them like shut down.
Well, because later that day, they ended up, both of my nephews asked me what games they should try out on Game Pass. And I went through like
Super Meat Boy.
Well,
I don't think it's on Game Pass, but
it's not. I went through a bunch of them. My one nephew decided to download Halo Infinite. And I'm like, yeah, sure. I mean,
Sure.
if that's what you want, like it's a good game. I'm okay, sure. And I picked out a bunch here and there. But one of the ones that I mentioned was Stardew Valley.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember which nephew ended up downloading it and started playing it, but he came to me and he was like, oh, Uncle Chad, can you give me some advice on this? And I instantly I was like, okay, first off, I am the wrong guy you should be asking advice for in that game. Go call your Aunt Sarah.
Right. And second of all, just play the damn game.
But I was more surprised that he downloaded it.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Because I didn't expect them to, but it might have been.
Everybody but you likes Stardew Valley.
I just haven't played it, and it's not
Yeah.
that I don't like it. I like the graphic style, and then honestly, it's ASMR because if Sarah's in bed playing it on the Steam Deck and she starts chopping down trees,
Yeah.
that fucking tree sound when it's falling and shit, holy crap!
Yeah.
And
it's
you
so
like
relaxing.
underwater stuff too.
Yeah, and the water
Well,
stuff.
then why are we not? We should do a 3-player because we can do multiplayer. Actually, we could do all 4 of us.
All right, let's play some Stardew Valley.
Yes!
We'll be back. No. Yeah, no, I mean, that's the thing. Like, I like games that are slow paced. I'm not shitting on games that are slow paced. It's just that it's sad to me that franchises that should be fast just aren't.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
even things like Fortnite. I've played a little bit of Fortnite, and on PC it's fine because you take away all the aim bots and everything else, and it's still hard. It's still a PvP shooter.
hmm
But you go on a console and you got fucking aim bots and everything else, and it's like, well, this isn't challenging. This is just watching things happen and clicking a button every now and then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
I was also gonna say, with kids like going into old games too. What I'm wondering, well, one, how many are watching people play them? First off,
Yeah.
probably good.
A lot.
Yes. But I'm wondering if they're going in thinking it's going to be easy because of watching people play them / speedrunners.
I think there's probably something to
Yeah.
be said for that.
Yeah.
For sure.
Mhm.
I think it's probably a good chunk of that
Mm-hmm.
and a good chunk of there are very few games that are actually hard these days.
Yeah, exactly.
So they just don't really have a reference point for it.
That was my introduction to the Messenger. Was I was watching a playthrough by I think it was Mike Matei. He was doing a playthrough of the Messenger, and I just I seen something. There was something that caught my eye, so I clicked on his playthroughs, and I fell in love. I'm like, holy crap, this looks cool. But I also seen how he was fighting some of the bosses and shit.
Mm-hmm.
So then when I got it, I was like flying through it already, only because I knew like, oh hey, yeah, you gotta fight this guy here. He's easy. Oh, kick his ass, whatever. Oh, it's just a big butterfly. Fuck him. But yeah, like something like that, I can get it. But again, going back to the whole how do you run? How do I shoot up stuff?
And I think that's the difference too, is because they're going in with the expectation of controls like what they're used to, and so they have an idea of how the game goes, but they're expecting like new controls, and then they go in and they're like, what? How do I squat?
Yeah, I guess.
I'm not apologizing for them.
I think you're being too generous.
I am.
Oh, I said it right at the start. They suck.
Oh no, they do suck though. Because I did play. Well, I played with one of them. I played Crash Team Racing, which was what, PlayStation 1 or 2?
It's PlayStation 1.
Was it 1?
Yeah, it was PS1.
And he was shit talking the entire time.
While losing.
Oh yeah.
And I was using one of the slowest carts I could.
Yeah. I don't know, man. New games suck. I've said it before. Not all, obviously. Some are fantastic, but new games in general. And it goes back to what we were saying the other week. There just seems to be a war on like fun gaming. It's all just like, how do we slow it down and get more hours played instead of how do we make it good?
Like nerfing as soon as you release season 1 of your game.
Oh god, yeah, fuck.
Are we talking about Diablo 4 again?
I mean, we've got like less than 10 minutes left, so do you want to go on a rant about it again?
I'm so tired of Diablo 4 sucking.
I flat it. So a friend of mine at work today asked if I was going to be playing season 1, and I honestly said like no, because I finished the story, and I got up to like level 60 something, but I was just done. Like I didn't want to grind shit out. I didn't want to do nightmare stuff. I was just like,
so in fairness, you played it wrong.
Probably.
And it shouldn't have been wrong. The way that you played it should have been fine. So for anyone who hasn't been watching, Chad basically found all of the temples, all of the shrines of Lilith, or altered.
I did
you were completionist.
Yeah. I didn't rip through and like do the story.
That is, unfortunately, in Diablo 4, absolutely the wrong approach. The way that I did it was definitely the correct approach, which was just like hammer out the storyline and basically as quickly as possible, because then you get the horse and you can get to the next levels and everything else.
Open up the world tiers.
Now that's bad design. That's not like, you shouldn't have to play it a certain way to enjoy the game.
Yeah.
But like running the nightmare dungeons is actually mildly fun. Like I don't hate it. I'm enjoying it here and there, but they keep taking away the little bits of fun that people are finding.
Yeah.
And then they release season 1 and it's like, fuck, I'm still level 60 something. Like I don't have an entire goddamn 40-hour work week to devote to this game every day or every week. Like I haven't even experienced season 0. So no, I'm not partaking in season 1. Go fuck yourselves.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess there's a hardcore contingent that are going to play it, but I don't know anyone who's playing season 1.
Yeah, I'm not. I think the biggest thing for me is like it just felt like such a slog.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, like with Diablo 3, I had fun with Diablo 3. Diablo 3 was fun.
Well, two things. One, they didn't release the seasons with Diablo 3 until well after release.
That was like what, Reaper of Souls, or was it the
years after release,
the Necromancer update?
I don't even remember, but
One of the two.
It was long enough that everybody who played the game was already max level. There was no problem there.
Yeah. So, but it's just the slog aspect of playing and trying to getting through the story and stuff like that. I don't know.
I'm just barely, like, I think I'm ready to do the second capstone dungeon. I'm not actually leveled enough for it yet, but I'm a necromancer, so it'll probably be fine. And that'll finally get me into Torment, and then I'll finally get to experience the full game. I'm not ready for seasons.
Yeah.
And like, fine, some people are. That's cool. Give them what they want. I'm not saying like, oh, Blizzard's bad for doing this, but like, I don't know a single person who has like gotten so far in Diablo 4 that they're like, I can't wait for seasons. I can't wait for seasons.
Yeah.
Everybody's still like, yeah, I kind of played a bunch of it. It's cool.
I can't wait for it to get more interesting.
Yeah, right. Like it'd be nice if they'd let me actually do some damage.
Mhm.
And then, of course, when you finally find some builds that you can do some proper fucking damage, they nerf them.
Of course.
Yeah, like well, the Bone Spear Necromancer, which has been like a go-to for
Yeah.
any necro, they nerfed that.
Yep. Yeah, it's a very strange strategy that Blizzard is taking. But it goes back to what we were saying with the war on fun. Like, how dare you enjoy our video game?
Oh, fuck. Destiny was notorious for that shit. Like, if you were having fun on Destiny with, like, a decent build and stuff, no, we're going to fucking nerf that.
Yeah.
Like, is it any wonder that they've lost a lot of players now? So,
yeah. No,
And the claim for balance.
oh, fuck.
Claiming that it's for balance reasons. It's like...
Well,
eh.
it's like the assholes on the road that can only ever merge in front of you. They can never slow down.
Mm-hmm.
Blizzard has the same blindness where they're like, the only way to balance something is to make everybody worse.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't actually, you can go the other way.
You can crank up the things a little bit
You
higher.
could take the classes that aren't that good and you could just make them a little better.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But no, we've got to nerf everybody. That's the only way to bring balance.
Yeah.
Fucking assholes. That's my stance.
Yeah.
Fucking assholes.
So anyway, if you plan on playing Diablo 4 Season 1, let us know. Tell us what you think down in the comments. It's live now. So, I mean, give her shit.
I'm almost tempted. I bought the premium pack, so I do actually have a free season.
The skips.
Well, and I think I have free entry to
The season pass.
Yeah.
So it'll be, I think, the next 4, I think.
Oh, it's
4
not
seasons.
just one?
It's a whole year.
Are you sure?
I'm fairly certain.
I should check that out.
Yeah.
Either way, if it's free, I might sign it. I'm not going to play it, so it doesn't really matter,
Mhm.
but I might sign in.
Yeah. We'll see.
I'm not re-leveling again. Like, fuck off.
And that was the other thing. We're like, fuck, man.
No, piss off. Especially since they didn't make it easy to re-level.
Yeah.
I mean, seasons were always hard to level the first time, but yeah, anyways. No.
Yeah, so.
Screw the Diablo 4. If you're still loving it, let us know. I am legitimately curious. I am lukewarm on it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I think out of everyone I know, I'm enjoying it the most. So
Oof.
that's
Well, again, there's been a few guys that I've talked to at work that are both kind of, a lot of them are the same, where they're just kind of lukewarm on it.
yeah, it's
So,
fine. I play it now and then, not very often. I actually haven't played any games this week.
Yeah.
I've been busy with the workshop
Mhm.
stuff.
Well, I've been on a retro binge ever since coming back from Kirkland Lake.
Yeah.
I've been playing a lot of the classic Mega Mans. One game I will recommend, if you have Steam PC, get Dave the Diver.
If you
Oh,
haven't
yeah?
heard of it yet, where have you been?
Yeah, it's
Right here.
Really?
What is it?
It's a fun. So you're doing like underwater exploration, fishing, whatever.
Well, I guess that.
But then you also have like a sushi restaurant that you run as
Oh,
well.
come
So you're
on.
collecting
Yeah.
ingredients underwater to like prepare the dishes. It's really, really cool. So we got it on Steam. We got it on our Steam Deck, and I gave that a run through there, and it's fun. It's really, really fun.
I'm going to have to buy it.
Yeah, I
Yep.
definitely I recommend that easily.
All right. Yeah, that sounds right up my alley.
Yeah.
it's-
Internet
it's
is in
cool.
love with it right now.
Oh, it's so
Of course
good.
they are.
It's
well,
so good.
Well, maybe I'm not actually going to do this, but maybe I'll stream it.
It runs great on a Steam Deck.
Cool. Yeah, I'm this weekend I'm going to be building a workshop, so
Yeah.
I'm not going to play a lot of games this weekend either. But
Mhm.
Playing the workshop game.
yeah, well, I'm going to be making some, if I get things done, I'm going to be making some gaming accessories.
There
so
you
that
go.
kind of counts,
Yep.
right? Yeah.
It's
I'm going to be
gaming
making
related.
some dice trays and some dice storage and stuff.
It's the dice part of Diced Pixels.
Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna I think we're gonna film another episode later today, but we're gonna talk about some TTRPG stuff, and I'll say a little bit more then. But I as part of going, hopefully killing my day job sort of thing, I'm going to be starting a woodworking business, and hopefully some of those things will be gaming accessories that are for sale under the Dice to Pixels logo.
Mm-hmm.
We'll figure that out as we go. But I'm excited because the tray that I made you, it was
That was fantastic.
a lot of people have said it looks gorgeous, and I thought that looked like crap.
I remember
so
that,
I'm
yeah.
like I was gonna throw it out. So
It was clearly better than the other one.
yeah. So anyways, I theoretically, there's something there. So that'll
Hell
be
yeah.
fun.
So
You were going to say something.
Oh, I was going to say, if you haven't already, make sure to link your Dice to Pixels account to Steam. Don't forget.
you need your Dice to Pixels ID. It's
We will leak all of your data.
Yep. Continuously.
Yeah, we're posting it directly to an RSS feed.
I'm still blown away that Steve cuts his crust off his PB&J from that Roblox league. That blew me.
What a jackass.
Wow.
Best parts.
So there's this stupid snack called Crustables, which is like a peanut butter and jam sandwich that has no crust. And I'm like, A, it's called Crustables. Why doesn't it have a crust? And B, like, come on, man, it's a PB&J sandwich. Can't you make that?
Did you see the gag picture of grocery stores just selling like pizza crust?
No, I love that though.
I would
But it
legit
looked like
eat that.
it was the styrofoam tray, and it literally looked like somebody ate the pizza because you could see like the teeth marks, and it was just a bunch of crust.
I'm sold. Let's do it. So we're actually with a couple of cuts. We're a little under time, but I think that's an episode. Anything else? Was there anything else we were going to talk about that we didn't get to? I don't think so.
I just want to bring up the fact that I was listening to a podcast today and they were talking about badminton, and for some reason my brain went to, I wish that there was a video game where I could do curling, because I used to curl as a kid.
Please.
There is on Switch.
There's hundreds of them.
I haven't. Okay, so if you Google it, it is. What was it? It was curlers playing video games, and then there's just a bunch of videos of curling, and then at the very bottom of the page, there was a review for one on Switch called "Let's Play Curling."
Yeah, no, I mean I know there's a bunch, because there was actually, I'm pretty sure it was curling. There was a story. This was years and years ago. Of some, I'm going to say they were 16, 17-year-old. They had made a curling game. And it was one of those things, one of those stories where it's like they had only sold like 20 or 30,000 copies. So nobody really knew about it.
Mm-hmm.
But this kid's sitting on like $1 million from this curling game that he wrote. And he was like, that's fine. Like, it doesn't need to be the number one seller. I'm balling. This is great. So I know there's at least that one.
I'm puzzled why Nintendo hasn't put it as a part of like their Switch Sports or like Wii Sports.
Because it wasn't first party; it was by another developer.
No, I know, but I'm saying like it's just a random. Like, why isn't it in like Switch Sports or Wii Sports, or like not Wii Sports, but you know that brand of gaming, like the Nintendo Sports line?
I have an answer, and you're not gonna like it because it's deeply unsatisfactory. Getting the mechanics of the spin with their controllers, they're not accurate enough.
Mm.
And your answer would be like, well, they do Mario Golf, so like surely, but they
and bowling.
Yeah, but bowling, see, here's the thing. Bowling is like, if you've ever curled, you know that I'm not bullshitting you. Bowling is like having training wheels on your bike driving to T-ball, like riding to T-ball, versus curling. Curling is fucking insanely hard.
Mm-hmm.
And like the slightest difference in spin makes all the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Bowling, you just kind of like, it's fine. And don't get me wrong, like obviously you already notice the accuracy issues in Wii bowling and bowling of any sort, sports bowling. But curling, it would be impossible to do it even remotely accurately with their controllers.
Yeah, the way that this game, from what I read, they have the power meter like a golf game, and then you do have sweeping action where you can either push a button rapidly or you do a motion with your hand, which is
how it's going to work. It's how it has to work. But that doesn't really fit into like the Nintendo Sports.
Not the way that they do them.
Like just something like that.
For the sweeping, I think,
sweeping is easy.
I think you could do it for sweeping. It's just that the actual like release, you couldn't. Just jerk it off.
just that.
Jerk it.
And on that cheery note, we'll say goodnight. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe. We love you all. We'll see you in like 2 minutes because we're gonna film.
I swear to God, I'll be back next week.
Yeah. And we'll all be wearing the same clothes.
Yes.
Cheers. We love you all. We'll see you down in the comments and catch you next week. Toodles.
Bye.
Ah!